Welcome
Hello.
to Season 2, Episode 21
Boom.
of Tech Town.
Tech Town.
That's right, we come here, we talk all things tech for you. We are during the spring-ish break.
Spring break. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So we're coming to you on a Thursday because we just got done breaking.
That's right.
We
Things
still
are broke.
We're breaking everything, and we're about to break your mind in
That's
half.
right.
And then fill it with all sorts of good stuff. We're going to talk all things housewife. Is that what you told me?
Housewife. Close.
Housewife.
Housewife high.
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi. Yeah.
I thought it was some sexist tech town that we were going to get.
No, that's next week. Don't worry. We have Wi-Fi in our houses, but it's a mess sometimes. You got to figure out what's a router, what's a modem, what's the Wi-Fi, how to fix it, what's the problems. So I'm here to help.
Yeah, I remember when they first came out with Wi-Fi, I actually thought my friend was like magic, because it was able to get the internet in on a computer and didn't have any wires sticking into it. Are you kidding me?
That is amazing, right? The fact that we have a battery that can power it without plugging in anything, and now we have the internet without plugging in anything. In that phone, that Wi-Fi, or I guess there weren't cell phones that did Wi-Fi at that time, but laptops, mind-blowing.
Yeah. It's really amazing that we are at this stage right now that we can do this sort of thing. And we're going to talk all about it today.
Oh, yeah, exactly. All right, so let's get to it. So, okay, Wi-Fi router. So what this is, just in case you're not familiar, you may get the internet at your house, but it usually only comes in through one plug.
Right.
And that's either usually a cable plug, like Comcast, who does cable internet, will come what looks like that old cable TV connection. Right. It'll just come in that one place. The problem is you may have lots of computers. Yeah. You may have a few phones. So what you need a lot of internet out of just that one plug.
Right.
So what you'll do is you'll plug in usually a modem first, which is what converts that weird cable plug into a internet-looking plug, Ethernet cable. Yeah. But so that's what that first piece does, the modem. But then it's still just one plug. So if you wanted to get to all your devices and multiple things, that's where you have a router. Okay. So a router is what plugs in basically from the source internet from your company, from your internet service provider, and then it will broadcast it wirelessly using Wi-Fi is what that technology is called. It also has little plugs in the back a lot of times that you can plug in.
So you could have like a whole octopus of like different wires coming out the back that would hook up all of your computers. But like, you've got a 2-story, 3-story house. Maybe you've got a really long house. Yeah. You just can't have like a super long wire in the middle of it. So, exactly. Yeah, or you just want to, not have wires all over the place. Yeah. So if an emergency happened and you had your computer on your lap, you weren't like caught up in a wire.
Exactly right. Oh man, yeah. And so I feel like it's also the future where everything should be wireless, and this is just one of those great ways it can happen. Right. So, all right. So what a router does is traffic, meaning internet traffic, from the internet through to which computer in your house or phone needs it. So what you can imagine is when you get this internet connection to your house, it only thinks there's that one plug. But as soon as you start putting all these things in it, when you on your phone visit a website, your router needs to take that information, go find the answer. Maybe you did a Google search. It's got to do the Google search, and then come back and give that web page to your phone, but not your computer. Wouldn't it be weird if your phone tried to Google something and the result just showed up on your other computer without you knowing?
Sometimes that'd be nice.
But sometimes it'd be nice, and we can get there.
Yeah, you can mess with your friends. Stuff like, hey, you might want to check your phone.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, we'll get to how you can do that too. But yeah, the idea is usually you want it to happen as you'd expect. Right. So what a router does is it takes anything behind the router, meaning, you are using it to connect to the router to then connect to the internet, and makes all that work out. Says, oh, you want this, you want that, you want this, boom. It happens actually both ways. So when you're searching Google, you're saying, hey, Google, get me some information. Right. But also, if you're uploading a YouTube video or you're broadcasting something, you are able to also use your router to get things out there. Right. So, all right. So one of the main terms and definitions you want to know is about an IP address. Okay. So you may have heard of this thing. What it is, it's basically like an address, like a mailing address for your house. Okay. But it's for your computer.
What is IP? What does that mean? What is
Internet Protocol, I believe.
Internet Protocol.
Yeah, it's pretty boring acronym, but it's a really amazing idea because the idea is every device should have some address. Yeah. And that way, when I need to know, oh, I want to send my my message to you, or I want to search Google and get the message back to me, we know where to go. Yeah. Because imagine we had no addresses. Where would you send the mail?
Right. Yeah. No, it's a crucial piece, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So there's a couple IP addresses that end up mattering. One of them is, like I say, every device you'd have. Your phone's going to have one. Your computer's going to have one. Anything that's connected to the internet is going to have one. But the problem, like I was saying before, is when the internet comes into your house, it just comes into that one place. That place has one IP address that the world knows about, and that's cool. We're gravy. But as soon as you put a router and then more devices, those new devices don't really have IP addresses. And the problem is if you just tried to pick one at random and like say, hey, that's my address, you'd run into real problems. It's kind of like just like your house. If you were to pick your own address, it wouldn't just work because other people might have that address.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So you kind of have to be assigned an address, but those addresses are actually disappearing. We're running out.
What?
Oh, yeah. So IPv4 is actually almost done for. We're running out of these things.
Okay, so we're running out. They're not disappearing.
It's right.
Yeah, so maybe.
So there's this finite amount, and we're using them all up.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, exactly.
Why don't we just put another number at the end?
Well, so that's what they're trying to do, but everybody has to agree.
Oh.
That's what's weird. It's kind of like baked into the programming to say this is how your address is. It's like, it's a weird kind of thing, but we're working on that. But
we all have to agree?
It would be that everybody's computer and all the routers and all the code of running all this has to understand that new number.
Yeah.
Right now, it doesn't understand. It only understands this amount of numbers.
Wow.
And anytime you were to change anything, it wouldn't understand. So you have to like redo everything to understand more.
How many numbers are there?
So it's 255.255.255.255. So all the way from 0.0.0.0.0, there's 4 segments there. All the from 0.0.0.0.1.
Wow.
0.0.0.2 all the way up to 0.0.255, and then it stops, and then you got 0.0.1.0, 0.0.1.1, 0.0.1.2, and then it starts all the way up to 255. Wow. And so anyway,
so it's like a billion.
It's like a billion.
999 billion.
Right. Well, not that many. The thing is that sounds like a lot at first, because when you're inventing a system, you never think that a billion internet connected devices would be out there, because you're in the in the 80s and the 90s and like, no way people are going to use this. But yeah, we have plenty of billions of devices that connect to the internet now. And so they're running out. So what the home router does is a sneaky trick. It says, let's say your internet service provider is giving you the address 2.56.192.26.
Okay.
Just made that up.
That's a good number.
But let's say that's the real legit one they've registered with. They actually got it for real. Your router will make everything in your house look like it's coming from just that number, just that IP address. But internally, each one gets its own one that's in a special range that only internal home ones are, which is 192.168.stuff.stuff. So 192.168 specifically was used for routers, but you may have the same one as me, but it doesn't matter because they're always behind routers, so you'll never have a problem. The router only knows about the external one.
Wow.
So all that said, all that's going on is that your house knows of one address.
Yep.
Your router says, oh, it's actually a bunch of different addresses. But sometimes that is either a security problem or maybe one of your games doesn't work because that sort of thing takes some extra special sauce.
Right.
So that ends up being actually an interesting problem.
Wow.
Last bit of IP address stuff I want to mention. It has an IP address of its own.
Right.
So we've already talked about 2 IP addresses. There's the one that comes into your house. There's the one for each computer or device that you have.
Yeah.
There's also one for the router. Now, that actually matters. It's one of the more important ones too, because that's how you actually log into your router. So a lot of people don't even know that you can log into your router, right? You just kind of like plug it in and maybe you follow directions. And sometimes it says weird things about 192.168. But really, there is this number that if you type in a web page, you go 192.168. Usually .1.1 or .0.1. That will be your router. And that's where you actually like set a password for your home Wi-Fi.
I was about to say, I think I've done this before.
Everybody probably thinks they've done it, or maybe, I don't know, just nobody really knows.
Right.
Or we type in some weird number, I don't know why.
It's something that you do maybe once or twice in the lifespan of your router or modem. You might switch you know, from Comcast, Charter, or something like that. Or
you have to just do one more router thing and type it in. So that's really what's going on, is you're actually typing in this IP address of that router. The real reason you want to do that is to change those settings, because like on your router, let's say there's no password, or you want to change the password, or there's a lot of things you can do. We'll talk about more fun things you can do. But so that's IP addresses. Deal with that. All right.
IP. So protocol.
Yeah. All right. So okay. So what can you do with Wi-Fi? Obviously, you can get internet over Wi-Fi, which is great. That's nice around the world. It's a pretty common thing. So you can take your phone and get internet at a Wi-Fi cafe in Thailand.
Not too bad.
So what do you want to do over Wi-Fi? One thing is get the internet. Another one is share files.
Of course.
So there's a lot of times I've found where we both have either a computer, or I have a phone and you have a computer, and you want to like send me a file. Well, you could do it over email. There's Dropbox, a zillion ways. Couldn't we just like connect our devices and just beam it?
Yeah.
There are ways. So I've got links to a bunch of ways depending on which device you're using. There's a couple apps that are supposed to just do it all. So it doesn't matter what device you're on, you just get the app. One's called File Drop or InstaShare. I think they're not completely free. Some you may have to buy the mobile app.
Okay.
There's other free ones out there, and I've listed them below in the video description. Take a look.
Show more.
Exactly. So the idea is, instead of having to email things around, if you're right next to each other on the same Wi-Fi, not only can you send things, but it's actually the fastest way. Right. So especially if you're sending like big video or something. So yeah, check out File Drop, see how that goes.
Yeah, very cool.
All right, so port forwarding. We talked about IP addresses. Now that's most of the story.
Okay.
Well, not even really. The last little bit that's interesting is there's a lot of activity going around on the internet, and they group it into these ports. So what they say is the web, you know, when you go to google.com or any website, that is going over port 80. So there's this number that they called 80. I guess that was already a number. But there's this port, they decided that all of the web traffic is going to go through port 80. So when you're logging onto the internet, that port 80 thing, it's kind of, imagine it like a gate. And you open port 80.
Yeah, 80 gate.
All right, now we get all the web. Now there's another gate for Skype video. So Skype video doesn't actually come through that gate. It's different. So it comes through this other gate. So you got to open that gate. Well, nowadays you got to open that gate. Before, all gates were open. So all kinds of internet traffic could just come to your computer, do what it wanted. Problem is with security. Some of those ports are ready to do things that they shouldn't be. So now they started closing them off. So if you've ever heard of a firewall, a firewall is what says, no, we don't need that port. No, we're not going to share printers this way. No, we're not going to do this other random program you never had. We're going to close all these gates and only open 80. You know, only open the one for web traffic. Every once in a while, maybe you install a new program. If you've ever seen, sometimes it asks you, oh, this is something new. You have to open a port in your firewall. Well, the idea is, what's happening is the Wild West internet is trying to go to your house with your IP address using port something or other, and then get to your computer using your internal IP address using that port. So your gate better be open.
Wow.
Watch out for that.
Dang, yeah. Check your gates.
So I have in the links a list of common ports and what they're used for. Because it's like, well, what are these? Well, the web is a big one, but there's ones for all sorts of different Xbox games. You know, when you're playing games against each other, these things aren't going in the same traffic lanes as the web traffic. They're in these other traffic lanes. Sometimes that causes problems.
So you got to light a wall on fire,
more or less, and sail the port. Yeah, pretty much. All right, so last thing is just about how cool you can do things with these routers, right? So that's all the basic stuff. That's the stuff they just do, right? Well, you can install custom software on your router to not only be more secure and kind of do all the normal basic stuff, but fun little things. You can mess with people. So every bit of internet traffic that goes to any computer that's connected to that router, you can mess with it. You can change it, you can see it, you can, you know, usually that's not a good thing to do, but it's the one facilitating all the internet. So yeah, if you have all that power. Another one that's actually a little more useful, bandwidth monitoring. So you can monitor how much bandwidth each device is using. So maybe your phone is like using a ton of video right now, or maybe there's someone connected that you didn't even know. You can see who all is connected to your network. So this custom firmware is called DD-WRT.
DD-WRT.
It's a little technical, so you know, if you're feeling bold, you'd have to like redo your router. You have to kind of log in and say totally redo it. But once you do, that software, not the software that comes with it, because the software that comes with it usually is pretty locked down.
Right.
But that software, DD-WRT, you can do all these fancy tricks. You can add another router as an extender.
Right.
So that's another thing you may realize.
Cool.
Yeah, your house your range isn't very good. You know, it works pretty close, but you have in your long house at the other end of the house, it doesn't work so well. So you can add another router, put on this special firmware, makes it easier, and then have your Wi-Fi reach both places. So yeah, that gets a little technical, but it's definitely fun. So routers, man, they're pretty much your connection to the internet.
Right. Your Wi-Fi.
Your Wi-Fi. Oh yeah.
It's very cool. There's so many things that you can do with it. All the doors.
Yeah, all those doors being opened or closed, and that's a problem. Sometimes there's too many open.
And there's fire on the side of one of those doors.
Yeah, so watch out. People may be doing all this stuff with your router without even you knowing.
Yeah, but definitely go in and check your router address.
Yeah.
You know, jump into it.
If you've never seen it, yeah, it's there waiting for you to set a password like you never did.
All right, and that is everything Wi-Fi, which brings us to
security. Wi-Fi edition.
So that's right, we talked about firewalls.
Yeah, we did. We talked about firewalls. That's definitely a good part of the security. We mentioned for a second, and I want to bring up, set not only a password for your Wi-Fi network, also set a password for your router. So remember I was talking about this special IP address your router has that you can go and log into your router. Well, it's not going to let you mess with everything right away because you should be the owner of the router. You should have to know a password. They come with a default password. So usually the default password is just password or the word admin, and it'll say it in the manual when you get the router. But change that right away, because if someone's able to connect to your router at any time, they can get in there, change it, and then totally mess with your router with you never being able to get it back. Well, that's not quite true, but yeah, so definitely set not only a password for your network, but also for the router itself.
There you go. Double password.
Yeah, so check out the links below on how to do that.
Boom.
All right.
So that brings us to the end of this Tech Town, but we have a very special event.
Oh, yes, we do.
Coming up next week, Tuesday.
That's right, Tuesday.
We're going to be showing our 50th Tech Town here in North Portland.
That's right.
At the warehouse. We want you to come and attend if you can.
Yeah, that's right. We're doing Tech Town Live, our 50th episode of the Big 50. So it's been great run so far, and we're going to have a nice big celebration. It's going to be, in North Portland tomorrow, or not tomorrow, Tuesday. March 21st. 31st. Thank you. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
it's gonna be big.
Yeah.
It's gonna be big. Who knows what could happen?
If you want to come, get in contact with us. We'd love to see you here. If not, we're going to be recording and playing this live as we usually do via Google Hangouts. So we'll post the address. And then we are also going to be starting our Facebook page.
That's right.
Today, so you can follow and get all the updates for all your Tech Town needs.
Exactly. Want to connect? So yeah, get on that Facebook page once we've made it. Come to the 50th episode celebration and keep enjoying some Tech Town.
All right, guys. We'll see you again next week.
All right. Peace.